How does that
No,
look?
I'm not saying that. You get some sense that there's a handful of stocks.
Look at that. I mean, you could tie that to the market. Bang. I'm looking at you in your lair there, and Phil Spector invented the wall of sound, but you've taken it to a new level with what you got going on.
This is the home studio, dude. And obviously we got the electronic kit. We got a lot of old CDs. I mean, I should probably put those in the museum. I don't know the last time I played them, but I'm a collector. So thank you for reckoning. When are you coming over to jam? And
I
what
would
kind of
love
game?
to.
What do you got?
I would
What do you
love
got?
to. I'd love to be able to sit down at the drums and be Bonham, or I'd love to be able to sit down at the piano. Unfortunately, I actually did play the saxophone in middle school, but that's probably for another show.
Was there a saxophone role model? I mean, obviously you didn't know about Clarence Clemens at that point. I'm trying to think. I don't even in this as a guy that claims to know a lot about music, I should be able to rattle off 15 sax players.
That's a
Anyway,
good. So it was pre-Bill Clinton, obviously. Bill Clinton played the saxophone. To your point, it was pre-Clarence Clemens. So I don't know what attracted me to the saxophone. I think it was the fact that everybody was playing the trumpet, and I was never one to sort of follow the crowd.
all right. So not a crowd follower. You decided to play the sax till you gave it up. What were you doing to kill afternoons back in Croton? I mean,
Well, I'll tell you exactly what I was doing. I was watching my Yankees on WPIX, which brings me to the next topic. We play this game from time to time. I'll rattle off a song lyric or a member of a band, and you typically like this. Well, I'm going to rattle off some numbers, and I guarantee you're going to be able to pull this in a second. So
I
here
love
you
this
go.
game. Love
Okay,
this game.
this was somebody that played for probably close to 19 years, maybe longer, in Major League Baseball. Okay, batting average, career batting average. Just bear with me. 342, 2,873 hits, 2,214 RBIs. Hold on, one more for you, and a win-loss record of 94 and 46. There you go.
That's Babe Ruth. There's
Unbelievable.
only one guy where we talk about the context of hitting and even some pitching. And in fact, early in his career, that's really what he was.
So I bring up Babe Ruth because in 1919, 102 years ago, he was still a member of the Boston Red Sox, proud
Yes, he
member of the
was.
Red Sox.
Yep.
The owner of the Red Sox was in a bit of a financial jam. He needed to do something because he wanted to produce a show called No No Nanette. So he sold the rights of Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees.
Nonone, he wanted to do a Broadway show. He was light on dough. So he sold the Bambino to the Yankees in what is one of the worst trades of all time, right? I mean, we know that.
Absolutely.
It's the curse.
Think about it. He set the Red Sox back probably close to 100 years, 90 years, let's just say. And obviously the Yankees, as you know, being a Met fan, the Yankees never looked back.
I'm going to make an argument that it was worse for the Red Sox than it was good for the Yankees, that trade. I mean, it wasn't just the period of without a championship, but obviously some of the gut-wrenching losses that the Sox won, probably as notable as any, at the hands of the New York Mets in the '86 World Series. So I think the Sox suffered more than the Yanks benefited. What do you think?
I think that's interesting. I mean, it's hard to say, but what I think your point, the way I look at it, is sometimes that suffering, the depths of despair is actually those lows are lower than the highs of just the euphoria that you feel when your team basically is in a World Series every single year from like 1927 on.
Yeah, well, it's been how long now? It's been, I think, probably 13
By the
years
way,
before you get
great song
15?
by Ace. How long? A lot of people think that song is about and a guy and a gal, somebody that might have gone astray. In fact, that song was written about the guitar player of the band that actually was playing with another band. Little known fact.
And it's funny when you say how long, I just think Point of No Return by Kansas. I mean,
wow.
It's
interesting. Kansas, when you say the band, it's Kansas. Boston is Boston. Chicago is Chicago. But when you talk about Eagles, for some reason you want to put the in front. And in reality, it's just Eagles. Did you know that?
So I had a chance to go see Eagles, and this feels weird right now. I had a chance to go see Eagles. Come on, the Eagles. I had a chance to go see the Eagles. You can't tell me I can't put a the in there. You're telling me, am I wrong?
Okay, so here you go. So I'll just carry that forward. If you were going to see Boston, would you say, I'm going to see the Boston in concert?
Great point, but Eagles aren't named after a town, so they're named after a bird. I don't know what we're doing here, but I had a chance to go see Eagles somewhere in the last couple of months as one of the first concerts I was going to go see after COVID, and I declined because I kind of feel like Eagles without Glenn Fry is like like who without Townsend or who without Daltrey probably.
So, all right, so let's get back on the rails here. So, I would submit this. There have been companies that have made short-sighted decisions that really set them back decades, like the Red Sox and the Yankees, and set the other company into it basically into the next level. And I would give you Pfizer when they sold their consumer products business. I think it was about 13, 14 years ago for about $16 billion to Johnson and Johnson, which seemed like an awful lot amount of money at the time. But in retrospect, Pfizer went nowhere for years, and J&J just went into ascension.
Well, it's interesting. So, I mean, I think about Microsoft, which is arguably maybe the most important tech company in the world. Boy, some of the moves they made in 10 years ago, getting into the mobile business, then completely dumping that business. There's probably still an argument that they overpaid for LinkedIn. I don't know. And now they sit on top of the heap, going back to kind of what they do well. I would put it a little bit differently, and I think about acquisitions. So on the Yankees, that were transformative, as opposed to companies that made a bad call, which is clearly what the Red Sox did. And I'm going to go with Google. I'm going to go with Google buying YouTube, and this is now probably 15 years ago for $1.5 billion or thereabouts. Think about the digital ad space. Think about where they sit. Think about the streaming business. I think YouTube's only begun to fight, and in fact, they stole that company now. And I think that was something that set the company into the modern era, much in the way that really, if you think about it, the Bambino, yeah, he was throwing BBs, but really, he ushered in the home run era for baseball. And in fact, it saved the game. I'm going to make an argument that if the Bambino wasn't who he was, you and I would still love baseball, but I bet a lot of other people wouldn't.
Who would be the Babe Ruth of the New York Mets? I mean, I know that's ridiculous to even put that out there because the answer is nobody. But if you had to pick somebody, who would that be?
That's not fair. I mean, it just so happens that the Bambino played in New York and had a couple decent players around him. But you're talking about a guy that transcended the sport. So I'm not gonna fall for that here. So Boston's first album, the second song, but has a prelude into it, is called what?
Foreplay Long Time.
Long time. It'll be a long time before the Yankees win that next World Series. Meanwhile, I think the Mets are on the cusp. Guy, I'll see you somewhere around 6 p.m., somewhere in the airports. Commercial break. We are they.
Catch us on Reach TV. That's Tim Seymour. I'm Guy Adami. We are
Commercial break.